When we're talking about genetics here, I just want to make it clear. So people remember genetics from school, and I remember learning about genetics in school. It was classical Mendelian genetics, but we're not really talking about that. We're talking about quantitative genetics.
It's such a crucial point. I'm glad you started with that, because it is true. Almost everyone learns about genetics from Mendel and his pea plants. But it's important to recognize he was studying single gene mutations in pea plants. So if you were a pea plant and you had this one recessive mutation, so you had a double copy of it, you would have seeds that are wrinkled, not the way a pea seed ought to look. And the thing about single gene mutations like that is they're hardwired and deterministic. So when you say genetic, people think of these single genes, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's hardwired, determined, and it leads to a fatalism in a way. But the critical thing to realize is that for complex traits like psychological traits, as well as common disorders like most of the medical burden in society, these traits and disorders are not due to a single gene. They're due to many, now we know thousands of tiny inherited DNA effects. And that changes everything. It goes from being hardwired to probabilistic. So when we say there's a heritability of 50%, it means half of the differences we see between people in a trait, like weight or personality or psychopathology, half of those differences we see in the population are due to inherited DNA differences. So the main point to make here is we are not talking about genetic in the Mendelian sense of single genes. Each of the genes we study works just like Mendel says they do, but we're talking about thousands of these little effects. And so it's a probabilistic thing. It's about genes influencing your behavior, not determining your behavior. It's such a critical point. I wouldn't mind belaboring that a bit more even.